Hey, what's up? In this video, I'm going to talk to you about how to get caught up with schoolwork over fall break. So what is up, parents who are trying to help your kids get caught up over break, or teachers, or maybe some students? My name is Seth Perler, Executive Function Coach. I wear a lot of hats in the executive function or diversity, 2E, ADHD, and those sorts of worlds. In this video, I'm going to talk to you about fall break, but it could also be winter break or spring break or any time that you have a big break and you are trying to get caught up. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to give you 10 ideas. So get ready to take notes and hit pause. And I'm going to give you 10 quick notes. Take notes on the ones that you want to help you get caught up. I'm also going to show you an actual calendar and how I might build this out with the student so that you have a real tangible idea of how this might look. Let's get started right now. So the first thing that I'm going to show you is this is the calendar that I'm going to be showing you. And this is on a Google Calendar where I'll be building this out for you. But let's go ahead and I'm going to go through these things right here. The first thing that I'm going to mention here of these 10 things is executive function planning. So executive function, how the front part of the brain, the prefrontal cortex of the brain, how the front third of your brain helps you to execute tasks, how that your brain helps you do important things. One of the things your brain does is it helps us to plan. It helps us plan. Now, planning is a skill or a series of many skills that work together to help us get important things done. It's very important. Now, what I wrote here is executive function planning, or planning equals freedom. And a lot of times students don't like to plan, myself included. I was somebody who didn't like to plan. I have executive function challenges I have all my life. I just know how to work with them now, but I didn't like to plan because it was tedious. It didn't seem fun. Now that I understand how much it helps and saves me time, what I really understand is this: when I fail to plan, I plan to fail. And when I succeed to plan, I plan to succeed. So that silly saying is so true. When I fail to plan, I plan to fail. So when it comes to this break, in this case, this fall break that's coming up for most of you is 10 days. Failing to plan, planning to fail, you're not going to get much done. Now, next thing I'm going to say, number 2, is it doesn't matter if your calendar is digital or analog. Even though I'm going to be using a digital one to show you how to do this, I don't care if you have a paper planner or a digital planner, as long as you have a planner and as long as it's reliable. All that matters with a planner is that it's reliable. So I have recommendations for students, but ultimately what we're looking for is yes or no, is it reliable? If you can answer that question to your satisfaction, that's where we need to be. Number 3, it's important that you make the plan and you may not follow it exactly. So sometimes students know that the plan that they make is not realistic, or parents know that it's not realistic, but there can be more resistance because they just know they're not going to follow through and do everything on it. You don't have to do everything on the plan. You don't even have to do anything on the plan, but making the plan is so important. The skill of planning and how it's going to help when you do get things done is so important. So what's important is just that you make the plan. Just focus on that for right now. And number 4, I want you to anticipate pepper. Pepper means that at the end of a semester or grading period, typically students start strong, go through what I call the dip, and then they play catch up for a while, and then they go through the final part of the semester grading period that I'll call the Hail Mary time, when things can really fall apart fast. But during that time, there is pepper, P-E-P-R, pepper. What pepper is, pepper means that not only do you have at the end of the semester your regular work, not only do you have makeup work, because the students that I work with executive function challenges all have makeup work, late work, incomplete work, zeros, missings, things like that. But you also, in addition to that stuff, already have pepper. Those are long-term projects that come at the end of the semester. This is a pattern all around the world that we see at the end of a semester. You have final papers, final E exams, final P projects, final R big readings. And oftentimes when you read something, a novel, a giant chapter, a big article, you have to do a project or an exam or an essay or a paper about it. So pepper, P-E-P-R, papers, exams, projects, and readings. Big long-term projects often come at the end of a semester, complicating everything even more for kids with executive function challenges. So anticipate it. When you are doing your planning for the fall break, in this case, anticipate that you may have a lot of makeup work to do over break, but you really want to take it very seriously because pepper is coming. In the next couple weeks, your final things are coming. Things aren't going to lighten up. So be very realistic about the time that you're going to have to do things. And of course, we can call into question the validity or meaningfulness of these projects and assignments and stuff like that. But we're not talking about that in this video. Here, we are just assuming that we're trying to get caught up. So I want you, when you're planning, to anticipate Pepper. Then I want you to block off days visually on the calendar. So people either have on break, we're going to call this break here for this event, and we're going to make this event go until the 26th. So people either have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 full days of break. So many of you have 9 days of break, and some of you will have a shorter break. So some people, at least in the United States, and I know I have people from all over the world that follow me, but in the United States, it's common for us to have fall break be from like around the Wednesday to the Sunday. So some people have like a 5 or 6 day break, and some people have a 9-day break, depending on the school district that you're in. So you're going to plan differently, obviously, for those different ones. Either way, as I said, block out the days visually on the calendar, and you can see I visually blocked out when the break is on the calendar. And students love to see this because it feels so much less daunting to know that you have a lot of 3 and 4 day weekends during a school year and a lot of breaks like this, because school can feel very overwhelming when you're someone with executive function challenges and you don't have a good sense of time. So let's go back here, and we're going to look at the next tip. Don't try to do a little every day. So one of the big problems that happens is that people try to do a little bit every day, or they think they're going to do a little bit of homework every day to get caught up when they're way behind on this fall break. Bad advice. Very good advice if you are somebody whose brain works that way, if you have great executive function and you know yourself and you're very realistic about things like that. But for my experience working with kids with executive function challenges, it doesn't work that way. It just doesn't work that way. And when you're unrealistic like that, you're setting yourself up for failure, in my humble opinion. So I want to suggest that you chunk or batch a few larger sessions to do your makeup work. And I also want to argue that, let's say that you have literally 20 missing things that you have to do over break to get caught up. Maybe you're not going to get 20 done anyway. So be realistic and choose the 3 or 5 or 10 or 15 that you really want to focus your attention on. And don't beat yourself up. Just do your best and move on. And for parents who, are like, oh, but they have to get everything done. Do they really, really question that? Why? Why are you saying that? Why do you have that belief? Maybe there's a reason, but nothing is more important than your child's mental health. And I'm not saying to coddle them or fix it for them or do it for them or anything like that. But I am saying that you have to have those serious conversations with yourself about, what are we really going to focus on here? But mental health is always number one. And how do we prioritize that while also supporting them to get a great education? Next, put those things that you batch or chunk, put them in the calendar. I want you to make it visual. You can use emojis and colors and stuff like that. I want you to put times, and I want you to put notes. I'm going to talk about that in a moment with who, what, where, when, why, how, things like that. So let's say that your break starts technically on the Friday the 17th. After school is over, you're out. I don't recommend students do anything on a Friday night for school. You've just had a long week. You're done. So maybe you want to take the weekend, and maybe on Monday you want a 3-hour batch of homework. So let's say that we're going to do, let's say math. And let's say that we want to be really specific about this. So actually I'm going to write here, let's say that at 10 a.m. you're going to do math. And let's say that at noon you're going to do science. And let's say that at 1 p.m. you're going to do some history, makeup work, or whatever. So this is just an example. This might be a 3-hour batch. So if we switch this view to the day view, you can see that on that particular day, I don't remember, there it is, that in this case, maybe there's 90 minutes there, maybe there's lunch there, whatever. But for this large block of time on this day, and we can look at the week view as well, see what it looks like on the week view. But this day is a day to really focus on those three things. Okay. And then let's go back to the month view because I find that this is the view that I use most with students. Let's say that on Thursday, you're like, oh, I'll do it before we do Thanksgiving dinner. No, that's never, it just never happens. The Friday after Thanksgiving is usually not a good day. The Saturday, though, that might be a good day for doing some homework catch up. So we're going to save that. Let's go back to, whoops, where did my calendar go? There it is. So maybe you put, whatever from 10 a.m. to 2 p.m. working on it that day. So either way, you're going to put it in your calendar. You're going to make it visual and with times and notes. So let's look at how we can make this visual. So for example, I'm going to go into edit the math and maybe I'm going to put an emoji here. Also, I used all caps to make it visual. Maybe my math teacher is my favorite teacher. So I put a green dot showing just that class makes me happy or whatever. Just giving you an example of ways to make it visual. The all caps, the emojis, ways to make it visual. Also, when you are done with this, you can change the color to a green that easily with a right click to show that that is done or turned in if you digitally turned it in or what have you. So now I also mentioned something about notes. So what you can do is you can put in the notes like page 44, here's the link, and you can add the link right here, even where it says location, you can add a link to where that homework is online. And so you can put notes down in the notes section. My problem with the notes section is I don't know the notes are there. So what I do personally is I write note in the actual event itself because that allows me to know that I have a note to look at. So I do that all the time in so many ways because I put a lot of notes in my calendar. So, and then as far as the notes, who, what, where, when, how, and why, the reason I wrote that to put in the notes is who are you going to do the homework with? Anytime there's accountability, it's easier and better. What do you have to do? Where can you find it? Where are you going to be when you do it? Oftentimes, if you're on break, it might be really good to get out of the house and go to the local library or to an office or to a coffee shop or somewhere that is not your routine so that you can really focus. When are you going to do it? How? What are you going to need? Things like that. So in the notes, you can add things like that. The more detailed you are with your plan, the easier it's going to be to execute the plan. So now you may want to overplan to be more realistic if you know your patterns. What I mean by that is I know myself. And if I am planning on working, let's say on Tuesday and Saturday, and I know I can get everything done in 6 hours, 3 on Tuesday and 3 on Saturday, but I know myself and something might come up. I might plan 3 or 4 days where I plan 3 hours because I know that I may not be able, something just may come up on Tuesday or Saturday. I may feel sick. I may, something urgent may come up in my life or something like that. So a lot of times it's wise to overplan just to make sure you cover your bases. So take that into consideration. Now, number 9, use accountability. Look, when it comes to doing this stuff and you have makeup work, it's not very likely that you're going to want to do the makeup work. It's overwhelming. It's daunting. There's a lot to do. So it's hard to get started. I talk all about ways to get started, but in this case, I'm just going to tell you one thing. Use accountability. So when you say, okay, on Tuesday, I'm going to do this, do you have a friend that you can, who is good with executive function and being able to focus, who you can do homework with, or a tutor or a sibling or a cousin or a parent or somebody you can co-work with for accountability? What other creative ways can you get accountability to make sure that you do what you're intending to do? And finally, number 10, the best of all. Look, as I said, doing a little bit each day doesn't usually work. But when you are not working, I often see this more with high school and college students who are thinking a lot about what they have to do, or they're trying not to think about it, which is still stressful and it's stressing them out. They know that there's a cloud looming over their head that they have to do this stuff. Look, when you're on break and you're not in those hours that you batched, give yourself permission to be on break, relax, play, connect. The reason that we call these things breaks, fall break, winter break, summer break, the reason we have breaks is because we need a break. So if you're in the pattern, which many of us get into, where we're on break, but we're worried about what we should be doing, That's interfering with your break. Your nervous system needs time to relax, to decompress, to play, to have fun. Most importantly, to connect and relate with your family, your friends, to have connection, time connecting with the people that you care about, even yourself, time connecting with yourself, taking care of yourself, relaxing, doing nothing, being bored. Those things are very important. But relationships are the most important thing. The people in our life that we really care about and spending time with them. So, this break, have time with the people you care about. Really be present with those people. That is the most important thing that I can tell you on number 10 is when you're on break, and be on break in ways that are really important to you. Again, my name is Seth Perler. You can find me at sethperler.com, or I have a summit called Executive Function Summit.com, executivefunctionsummit.com. Of course, is YouTube videos, podcasts, all the things. If you like what I'm doing, please do share sethperler.com with somebody. It helps me. And if you like what I'm doing, you can give it a thumbs up. If you want to leave a comment, do you have any ideas for how you approach things during a break like this? Any good tips for us you can share below? Also, do you have anything not to do during break that really can make it more difficult for you to get caught up? Any thoughts about that? Feel free to pop that in the comments below. I want to wish you three things. One, peace. Two, I want to wish you peace of mind. And I want to wish you joy in your heart. And three, I want to wish you connection with the people you care about, particularly the kids in your life. Have a fantastic day. Go ahead and share this with somebody. Take care.